tycker det. Jag bara go with the flow. Hej och välkomna tillbaka till Ice and Drugs-kanalen. Nu står vi här på Birger Jarlsgatan och dagens agenda är att vi tänkte intervjua lite folk med lite frågor. Så häng med!
Yeah, yeah. Who do you want to be? Get ready, the only one I want to be is me. Yeah.
Okej, nu står vi med två danskar här. Så, what's your name?
My name is Anna-Maj.
And my name is Carl Gustav.
So, what are you doing in Stockholm?
We went for a family trip, and we also, because my brother is playing ice hockey for a camp, so we just took Stockholm after that.
Nice. So, my first question is, what's like your view on drugs?
What I've heard, it's very addicting, and like when you first are starting, you can't really stop, and yeah, because there's really hard to get out of it again, I think. Yeah.
I feel like it's just a much more personal view on it because it's something you fight with yourself if you get into it in the start. Sometimes it affects others, drug wars and stuff like that, and it can take overhand. But for the most of it, it's for the normalized of people. It's just a personal problem you have with yourself, and you can see the change in people, your personality also. So it's something very dangerous.
Do you know any drugs?
Not any names, but marijuana, hvad hedder sådan noget? Yeah, that's the only thing I know.
Weed, hash, the one bodybuilders takes. Steroids, that's drugs, right? Drugs is just like medicine,
No, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a couple. I know, Plain GC.
Yeah. Do you think drugs is a big problem in the society today?
In the youth, because it messes with your mind, and you just got like, okay, now I drink alcohol. Why can't I just start on this? And why now I smoke? Why can't I just smoke weed? It's something that can affect in a lot of ages. In Denmark, we have like in my age we start drinking. We still though.
How old are you?
I'm 15. Yeah, but we still do have someone who just tries a lot of things and get into stupid things, things that they could have avoided if just like for the second time. But you get into drugs very easily. Also, if you just like have a thought like saying "fuck it all," because it can start from the home where you have some problems or something like that in the school, and then you just try some stupid drugs, and it just takes overhand.
There's also some, already at my age, I'm 13, there's a lot of girls who's smoking and doing drugs and all that stuff, and my whole city knows about it. So it's also kind of scary that there isn't anyone who's taking control of it, because they're so young, they're just teenagers.
I totally agree. It's awful to see people of such a young age like starting to do drugs.
I also think that Denmark is the lowest drinking age where we start.
Is it 16?
Yeah, the legal age is 16, but there's so many who drinks below that, and it's insane. It fucks with your head, and it's where you are in udvikling, where you are like evolving your body and stuff, and it's it's a stupid path,
Yeah, also in my age group, there's like the ones who's just normal, and then there's like a big group in my city that's drinking and smoking and going to parties, who's like 13 to 15 years old. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
I don't know, your mom is probably here, but I wanted to ask you, have you tried any drugs?
No. Our dad is very strict about it. He's just telling you can do other stupid stuff than drugs, but drugs messes with your life and messes with your family, so don't do it. We have some family problems over drugs, so we won't do it. Yeah.
Also from a very young age, he's always said to us, don't touch any like what is it called?
Needles.
Yeah, needles on the streets and don't get involved in anything and all that stuff. Yeah.
Tycker ni att det finns, är det lättillgängligt med information i Danmark om droger liksom? Alltså skolor, pratar de mer om droger och sådär?
Det är lätt att få fat i. Is it easy?
No, more like is they talk about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
in school?
Yeah.
It's not like a directly conversation. We got these people who comes to our classes and speak about which path you should take and how they really you're safe with alcohol and stuff like that, because alcohol is poison. It is something you take for fun, but it's still dangerous in some kind of way. But these people, they just come to us and tell, okay, what happens if you do these drugs? And I have heard about people who lost the ability in the brain to get the hormones, get the thing to make them happy. So they have lost the ability to get happy completely. And that's kind of scares us a little bit back from the drugs. But I feel like a lot of the responsibility for kids to not take drugs is your parents' responsibility.
Yeah, we also have a lot of people coming into our school and like do presentations and stuff. I think in the past year we have 4 or something that have come, and they tell us about vapes, for example, because they tell us that how much nicotine,
Nicotine.
yeah, how much there is in there, and really tell us what it is that does fucks our brain up. So that makes us more scared about it and makes us more realize how farligt.
Consequences.
Yeah, how much there's, yeah.
So you two are from Denmark, right? Have you been to Christiania?
Yeah, we have been there for like a trip, and that was with our parents because we don't want to get there alone because you can meet some different types there. But some drugs make your creativity flow better. We've seen a lot of art, and the Beatles also. I think, there's a lot of artists who also do drugs. But when they speak to the youth like that, it's important to remember that it's not everyone who can handle the life, and it's also mostly the pop stars who does the drugs who dies sadly, and it's a big loss. So yeah, we have been to Christiania, and it's a different experience because at home, Jylland, Herning, we just a bit more casual life in it, but in Christiania it's so much more more survival in it, because you can see the people, the consequences sometimes while they're just on the street and they're just begging for money, because you can see on them that they have been through something and they're not happy about where they are right now. So it also helps us realize, okay, what is it actually does to a man's life.
It's also crazy because when you come from our city, it's not like anything that much. But when you see the difference between Christiania and our city, it's crazy. So it's not just drugs; it's a whole another life.
It's like a big eye opener.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Also, if there's like homeless and people that's having a little hard time, you see it on the city streets. Yeah, you really realize that's what you get yourself into when you're doing it. It's not just drugs and cigarettes and all that stuff. Yeah.
Have you ever been in a situation where drugs were like used maybe by other people, but you didn't like take it yourself? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you have a situation like that?
At my school, we got like, Chingy's friend, the big guy. They go in the 7th class. Yeah, but they have taken snooze, and I know it's not directly a drug, but it's still nicotine, and it still leads to something worse. And then I have my friend in the class. We call him Puffe because he takes these puff bars. And there are so much chemicals in it, it just fucks up your whole system. Puff bars.
What does it do?
It's just like a vape, but it's just much more flavored. It has much more fruit in it, but it's not real fruit. It's just a lot of chemicals.
Oh, okay.
But we have been joking around with him and seeing him taking and stuff like that. And the school have talked about it. Our teacher have talked about it in front of the whole school. and we are going to a lead class. I am, so it's much more serious there. But he still doesn't really give a fuck. And some of the other guys are like, okay, this is fun, we can jump on this, and then they go to parties with it, and then he brings something with him, and he also told me that he have tried to do to get high before school, and you can see on him also to a normal day, because I don't think he does it every day, but you can see on him that he's just way too tired and way too so I'm really concerned about him because he's not holding back on it.
I also have a friend of mine. She came from a lot more bad school, like a friend group. Then she moved to our school, and you could just feel it on her that she's like tired and she's like crying a lot because she has so much going on in her head. And also the family she comes from, she doesn't live there anymore. So it's also hard for me to see her like that because she's a real nice girl. But when she's involved in all that, it's really like harsh on her.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
It's very awful. What do you think could solve this? I know it's a big question, but like you two are young people. What do you think like would help you more? I see by your answers that you already realize that drugs aren't good, but if we speak for like all the generations and like other people, what do you think is like could help people not do drugs?
I think the question lies in that we maybe are giving too much opportunities at a too young age. 16 is a very low age for you to buy alcohol, and we are very social. We are going from age groups to 14, and then you could be maybe 17, 16, because you have some contacts. You can talk with people, and they can get you this stuff, and it can. We also have some different ways to get this drugs and stuff like that. So I think to just raise the minimum age for alcohol could be a bigger thing to do, and we organization. Okay,
Yeah.
the kids organization gotta take more. Gotta go hard on it, because I don't think the kids really wants to do it, but it's also a lot about socializing. While if you don't get all this alcohol at socializing events, you maybe not feel like it's so much fun, but it's what leads to drugs. So cut the minimum age gotta be raised, and much more conservative about it.
I'm also thinking the same thing, because if there's a friend group and you want to be a part of it, you're kind of gonna be like, oh, I'm also gonna drink and I'm also gonna like be partying. But if you're my age and you're trying to get like more friends and more popular, then you will kind of search for that group. But then it's all drinking and all that stuff, and then also raise the age and maybe get more people out and like hitting hard on it to really show people, because I only got to learn about this in my grade now, but if it was from an earlier age, it would really like shock them and be like, okay, I'm not gonna do this because I can see how bad it is. And because when you're still young, you don't think of, oh, I'm gonna be a part of a group, but you only think about how bad it is. So to kind of get that shock from a young age, it will help more. Yeah.
Do you think like spreading information about drugs in school and everything will be a good thing to do to like increase the knowledge of drugs?
It will be smarter to do it from a young age, as I said before, because when you're going out and beginning to like drinking and partying from a very young age, it's just drugs. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. But when it's from a young age, you learn that it's not drugs, it's sick and like mental illness and all that stuff. So yeah.
Do you know what I mean with the question? Yeah.
But I think the problem lies in that they want to grow up too fast, because if they want to be mature too fast and they don't want to be seen as kids, I think it's important to learn them to learn your younger generation that it's important to stay kid, stay young, to not be too stupid in it, because if you're too stupid in it, you start to lose control. So I think you gotta remember you're just a kid. You're only 15. You don't need to rush anything. You don't need to be friends with the people you don't want to be friends with. It's okay to be looked weird at sometimes because you don't want to do it. So I feel like just feel where you are in yourself. Feel if your problems really are problems, or you're just going through a stage. Because we are under change, we are under reconstruction. So you gotta just chill. gotta take it easy, because you don't need to. You don't need to take the drugs. I'm sure they are not happy themselves taking them. So be a kid and stay out of it.
Not at all. He said all that.
Very good answer. And thank you for want to be in the interview. Yeah. Okay, so I'm standing here with
Christopher.
And Sophie?
Nice to meet you. So my first question is like, what are your views on drugs?
Pretty liberal. Not, pretty liberal. Not against the free flow of drugs, but to some extent, I think drugs are good for you.
I think I'm a bit more conservative. I think there should be a pretty harsh ban on drugs. I've never taken drugs myself, so I guess that's why I'm pretty harsh against drugs, yeah.
So my next question to you, because you told me you're very liberal to drugs. Have you taken any drugs yourself?
Only like some weed and drinking, which I guess it's not really drugs, but weed on occasion.
Do you think drugs is a big issue in the society today?
I don't think it's a big issue as such. I think there are some people that have issues with drugs, but it's not something that I meet in my everyday life. We live in a very nice area of Copenhagen, and we don't really see a lot of people on drugs, so it's not something that I think about. No, so I don't see it as a big problem as of right now. Yeah.
And you?
If you can control it, I think it's fine. If it's uncontrollable, obviously it's a problem. But I think there's a lot of... I think you can explore a lot of things by being on drugs that you wouldn't otherwise have access to, in the sense of being more creative and getting bigger and smarter ideas maybe than you would without. So, but obviously not if you're an addict and lying on the street, but otherwise, yes.
What drugs do you think should be like free to the people to take?
I don't know. I'm no expert, but I think as long as it's not like you get completely addicted, like let's say heroin, and you cannot actually get out of it because you're just so hooked. I think those are the ones that you should really look at, and the other ones maybe be a bit more lax.
So, where do you draw the line from which drug should be like free?
I don't know. Probably hash. Probably there. Let's see.
Which drug do you think it's very common to the young people today?
Hash and cocaine, probably.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know, we're not so young anymore, but when we were young, the people we went to high school with did cocaine when they did something, right? Yeah. Of the harsh drugs, yeah.
Do you think there are any consequences of drugs to people?
Like health-wise?
But it could be other.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's not rocket science, but there's also some benefits. So you cannot. I mean, yeah. You
do you have examples
of benefits? Yeah, basically, like they work as an antidepressant for some people, can help alleviate depressions and those kinds of things. So in that sense, I think it's good. But obviously, if it impacts your mental health negatively, then it's a bad thing.
I think there are lots of consequences, both for the mind and the body as well, and also for the society. Yeah, so.
Yeah, so you two are from Denmark, yeah, and there is like a place, like everyone knows it, you know, Christiania. What are your views on that place? Have you been there and like, yeah?
I think it started off very good. It was like a free society, and hash was a little bit more free trade. And then suddenly, you know, gradually other more hard drugs came into play, and coke became a thing, and violence became a thing. So, I mean, maybe if you could roll it back a little bit, so it was more like just hippies and enjoying themselves, then that would be good.
And I agree. Nothing to add. Yeah.
Thank you for being in the interview. Yeah.
Thank you for having us. Have a good day.
Det här var då sista intervjun för den här videon. Jag hoppas att ni gillade det här konceptet vi hade och att ni fick höra lite olika perspektiv kring droger. Glöm inte lämna en like och en kommentar och följ oss på alla sociala plattformar vi har. Vi heter Icing och Drugs överallt. Och så ses vi i nästa video. Hej då!